Hey y'all, Meccaa here. Welcome back to Meccaa's HOODOO MECCA, where we talk about hoodoo through the lens of ancestral veneration. I'm so happy to see you guys back this week. I hope you guys have been having a great week thus far, because by the time that you'll be seeing this, it is a Wednesday. As well as I hope you guys are checking out the other content on the channel. We have some very great information that is filtering through this channel, so I want you guys to take advantage of that. I know I have been. I have been being so fed, and I'm so thankful that Betsy and Henry decided to pull all of us together. It's been so dope thus far, and I hope you guys are enjoying it. This video, we will be talking about something that is very sentimental, very bittersweet to me, and it was interesting that when I was planning the content for the rest of the month of March, I realized that it is National Women's Month here in the United States. So I was like, what better way to segue into the month of National Women's Month by talking about someone who has been the cornerstone, the backbone, and the very reason why you guys see the Meccaa that you see today, and that is my beloved grandmother, Irene. So I will be talking to you guys a little bit about her and how she has influenced me to be who I am. So my grandmother's name, like I said, was Irene. Excuse me. She was born in Texas, which makes so much sense because my grandmother had a very much so larger than life personality. And although she transitioned when I was very young, I was 2 years old when she transitioned, I love the fact that my grandfather made it a point at every turn of my life that he was here for, to remind me of who she was, of the things that she accomplished, and how her being the matriarch of this family was so important. And so, like I said, my grandmother was very much so larger than life. She was a spitfire. You knew not to play with Irene Harrison Gray, okay? You knew that if you played with her, there are consequences and repercussions. But on the flip side of that, she was a very much so deeply spiritual woman, and she was very much connected to her femininity and her divinity as a woman. And I think that's so important, especially as we talk about women in spiritual spaces, which is something that I'm covering on my personal content on my personal platforms. So please feel free to check that out. You can find all of my social media links in the description box below. But as women in spiritual spaces, I think that now more so than ever, we are really learning what spiritual divinity looks like for us. I know I grew up in the Church of God in Christ. I'm a Kojic baby. And in the Church of God in Christ, men ran pretty much everything. Women really didn't have a say-so in a lot of the things that went on in the church, the decisions that were made within the church, and the dynamic of the church. And so to see women who are now finding their place in spiritual spaces, who are now tapping into that divine wisdom that we all have, is a beautiful thing to see, and I'm glad that I'm here to see that. But my grandmother, from what I remember and from what I've been taught over, the course of my life, was a woman who was deeply connected to herself as a spiritual being, as a healer, as, like I said, the matriarch of our family. And I'm so thankful that my grandfather made it a point to pass that along to me. I carry her namesake. My middle name is Irene, and that's something that I will always hold very much so close to my heart, because although I know that she's a part of me, and I know that a lot of what I do, she's able to live through me, and her memory is, able to be shared that way. It's just the fact that, like, I got her name, like, and so I tend to embody that. It has shaped me so much as a woman, as a Black woman, as a healer, as somebody who has had a very relatively hard life. And the one thing that I have always clung to was the fact that my grandmother was fierce, my grandmother was ferocious, my grandmother was fearless. And those are the things that really ground me when I feel as though I'm questioning my place in spiritual spaces, when I'm questioning what my goal and what my purpose here in life is and it should be. And so this month, I implore you guys to really talk to the women in your family, because two things are true. No matter what terms you are on with the women in your family, because let's be honest, not all of us have great examples of women, and not all of us come from places and spaces where women were revered and were at the forefront, right? But two things that will always be true is no matter what your relationship is, they're still a part of you, right? Their blood still flows through your veins. You're still a part of that lineage. As well as, like in my case, my grandmother transitioned, like I said, when I was very young. And that's something that we're all going to do one day, right? And the my most favorite thing about hoodoo as a practice, ancestral veneration as a practice, is as I'm healing myself, I am healing the women in the previous generations that came before me, and I am helping to create a new narrative around womanhood, around divinity, and around the sacred spiritual wisdom that we all hold for generations to come after me. And so that's why I feel like it's important as women for us to really step into who we are and really make our mark in these spiritual spaces, in these spiritual conversations, because we are needed. And I don't want you guys to let anybody tell you differently. I feel like there is a duality in life, and just as much as the masculine is needed, the feminine is needed as well. Shameless plug, please check out Eric's show. He comes on Mondays, and he talks a lot about that. So I just feel like this month could be a stepping stone for a lot of us, as it is National Women's Month, to really, like I said, make our mark in these spiritual spaces, in these spiritual conversations, because we have a lot to bring to the table. And I'm very much so glad that my grandmother made that a point to stress to not only my mom, but to the point where my grandfather saw it, and my grandfather honored it. And that's one of the things that he loved the most about her. It was always precious to hear him talk about her, and just to see him just gush over her. And I know that's because, like I said, he honored her in her divinity. So that's a lot of what has built me as Meccaa. My fierceness, my ability to be resilient, my ability to keep pressing on even when I don't know the outcome, when I'm unsure, when I'm afraid. It's her that I feel like gives me the courage, and that gives me the wherewithal and the stamina to complete the mission that I've been sent here to complete. And I don't feel like it is a coincidence that I have her middle name whatsoever. And I don't know if my mom thought about it in that type of context or that type of way when she gave me my name, but Spirit always knows what it's doing. So I just implore you guys, like I said, to really tap in to your feminine lineage, to your feminine family members. And if you have your grandmother still around, please talk to them. They hold so much wisdom, they hold so much knowledge, and it's the gems that I've gotten from the women in my family, and even the women who weren't my family that became my family have poured into me. I would not be here talking to you guys if it was not for that. So make sure you are having these conversations, talking to the women in your family, understanding where you come from, and seeing the correlation between yourself and the women in your family, because like I said, it holds a lot of jewels, and you will be so surprised at the things that you tend to unearth within yourself when you have these conversations, right? So I hope you guys have a great Wednesday and a great rest of your week. Like I said earlier, all of my information is in the description box, so if you want to check me out on the other social media platforms as well as here on YouTube, please feel free to do that. Also, You guys have left a couple of comments about things that you would like to see me speak about, and I'm so totally open to that. So please continue to do that, and I will remain open to what you guys have to say. Again, I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and I will see you back here next Wednesday at 3:33 p.m. Central Standard Time. Peace.